The Art of Discernment, Confronting Malicious Schemes. This story is a profound tale set in the ancient Indian city of Varanasi. It depicts the interplay between a witty financial officer and a group of ruffians who plot to deceive him. The financial officer sees through the ruffians' scheme and skillfully evades their plan using his own wisdom and insight. Through this story, we learn the importance of correctly assessing our surroundings and not being swayed by superficial charm. It also teaches us the importance of using intuition and reason in good balance. Now please enjoy this story filled with wisdom and responsiveness. Once upon a time in the city of Varanasi, a group of ruffians were plotting to secure money for alcohol.
Hey brothers, how's business these days? Times are tough. We can't even afford good liquor. Don't you have any good ideas? Forget good liquor. We can't even afford the cheap stuff. The struggles of being poor. You said it. But that financial officer in the castle, he's doing pretty well for himself. I passed him on the street the other day and caught a glimpse. He was wearing some incredible clothes. His coat was impressive, but did you see the ring firmly on his right hand? The ruby was about the size of a quail's egg. And with it, a ring with a thick golden seal. With that, you could buy a mansion like his. Wow, sounds like a dream. But it's a story that has nothing to do with us. Maybe not.
At that moment, the most vicious-looking man, who had been listening silently, spoke with a powerful voice.
Listen up. Listen carefully.
The man then whispered something to the 5 or 6 ruffians. The men nodded in agreement.
As expected, bro. You're a wise one.
With that, the men quickly dispersed. One day,
What on earth could this be about?
the financial officer said to himself, stroking his well-groomed beard. One of the notorious town ruffians, who usually hide at the mere sight of him, approached.
We've always respected you, sir. Sure, we're scum-like people, but since we were born as humans, after all, we'd like to have a drink with a great person like you, even just once. Won't you accept our toast?
He said as he approached. They had unexpectedly gotten their hands on some good liquor, so they invited him to come drink at their small tavern in the corner of town.
Strange. Well, it's virtuous of them, but I can't believe they're that sweet. There must be something behind this. But if I'm too openly cautious, they'll see through me. I'll go once I've calmed down.
And so the financial officer arrived at the tavern with a leisurely gait.
Oh, my. I never thought you'd actually come. I'm so grateful.
The man who had come to invite him said, rubbing his hands together and fidgeting as he signaled to his companions. They sat in a circle, urging the financial officer to have a bottle of liquor.
Come on, have a drink. This liquor is good.
The financial officer, who had been silently observing everyone, suddenly reached out and took the liquor bottle.
If it's such good liquor, it would be a waste for me to drink it alone. Come on, it's my treat. Don't hold back, drink up.
He said, pouring the liquor into the cups of the fidgeting ruffians, not leaving a single one out.
Now, let's toast together.
As he was about to say this, one of the ruffians stood up trembling.
Is something wrong?
Ah, yes, me too.
Several of the ruffians stood up.
Me too.
What's going on?
I suddenly remembered something I have to do.
What about you?
I'm feeling sick.
The financial officer watched the men stand up one after another, not stopping them. Finally, only the most vicious-looking man with a pale face remained.
Don't you have something urgent to attend to as well?
The financial officer looked at his face with an amused expression.
Sir, I give up. I was just asked to do this. Please forgive me.
Well, now that it's just the two of us, why don't you drink that liquor? Though from the looks of it, even if the paralytic drug takes effect, there doesn't seem to be anything to rob.
I'm terribly sorry. It was just a whim.
Is this how you always bully the townspeople? This needs a major cleanup.
The financial officer clicked his tongue inwardly. Upon returning home, the financial officer told his wife the whole story of what happened at the tavern.
My, that was a dangerous thing to do. Why did you go to such a place, knowing there was a scheme?
I wanted to see what kind of evil they would do.
But how did you know that the liquor was laced with a paralytic drug?
Ha ha ha, it's nothing. As I watched closely, no one touched that particular liquor. The other liquors were steadily decreasing, but that bottle didn't. And yet, they kept praising only that bottle. Those fools.
The financial officer said, taking a cup of unsullied tea from his wife's hand and drinking it with relish. There are several ways to apply the lessons learned from this story to modern life. The first is to enhance your insight into situations. As in the story, it's important to observe your surroundings and discern the intentions and possibilities behind things. Even in the workplace and daily life, carefully observe situations and make judgments based on information. The second is to maintain a sense of caution. Like the financial officer in the story, always be cautious and protect yourself from potential dangers and fraud. It's especially important to act cautiously in online environments and when interacting with strangers. The third is the ability to make judgments without being misled by appearances. It's important to cultivate the ability to analyze deeply and discern the essence, rather than judging people and situations solely by their surface. This is useful in various situations such as business decisions, investments, and human relationships. The fourth is the balance between intuition and reason. It's important to not only rely on intuition, but to think about things rationally and make appropriate judgments. In the story, the financial officer used both intuition and reason to assess the situation. The fifth is to acquire the skills of self-defense. As in the story, it's useful to acquire self-defense skills and knowledge to protect yourself from dangerous situations. In modern times, this includes not only physical self-defense, but also knowledge of information security. The sixth is social awareness and responsibility. When you notice malicious behavior or misconduct, it's also important to have the social responsibility to handle it appropriately. This relates to workplace ethics and codes of conduct in public spaces. These lessons are applicable to many aspects of modern life and are useful for personal safety, success, and building good social relationships. On the other hand, there are a few points to keep in mind when applying the lessons of this story to modern life. The first is how to strike a balance. The story emphasizes the importance of insight and caution, but excessive suspicion and distrust can have a negative impact on human relationships. Rather than always being suspicious of others, it's important to have a good balance of trust and prudence. The second is the appropriate way to handle things. The ability to avoid danger like the financial officer is important, but in today's complex society, when faced with problems or conflicts, one should also consider seeking legal means or the intervention of a fair third party. The third is the difficulty of discernment. Discerning the essence behind things, not just superficial information, is also very important in modern society, but there is also the risk of making incorrect judgments due to information overload. Therefore, it's important to obtain information from multiple sources and make objective judgments. The fourth is the impact on human relationships. There are also situations that require a witty response like in the story, but if you are always too cautious, it can also make it difficult to build trust. Having flexibility and understanding is important in maintaining healthy human relationships. The fifth is understanding cultural backgrounds. The story was born from a specific cultural background. When applying its lessons to different cultures or environments, it's necessary to adapt them to suit those cultures or environments. By keeping these points in mind and applying the story's lessons to modern life, you can make wiser and more effective judgments.